CLC රන් අය හදිස්සියට පරිස්සම්ම නැහැ. මුල් දවස් 10ට පොලිය ගන්නෙත් නැහැ.
එහෙනම් කොවිඩ් නිසාලා බිස්නස් එක අඩු.
මිනිස්සු අතේ සල්ලිත් නැහනේ. බඩුවක් ගන්න අඩ ගැව්වත් කියනවා සල්ලි කොහෙන්ද කියලා බඩු ගන්න.
ලොක්ඩවුන් එකක් ඉඳලා තමයි මිනිස්සු මේ තත්ත්වයට දැන් ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ.
ගාන වැඩි. නමුත් ඉතින් අපිට ගන්න වෙනවනේ. රත්‍ර සමරන්න වෙනවනේ.
අපි 150ට 200ට තිබිච්ච ලයිට් බල්බ් මේ කොහමද ගන්නෙ? නත්තල අර කරන්න ඕනින්ද කරනවා මිසක් මේ ළමයිට පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ නත්තලක් තියනවා කියලා.
පොඩි අයගේ ආසාවට අපි දෙයක් කරන් දෙන්න මිසක් හරි අමාරුයි. මිනිස්සුන්ට දරන්න බැරි ගානක් තියෙන්නේ.
...2020 was nothing compared to this year. The third wave of COVID-19 that wreaked havoc across the country caused an immense loss of life and an economic downturn that's second to none. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. Dwindling forex reserves and extreme inflation rates have put the country in quite a tangle. Part of the problems consist of challenges brought on by the COVID pandemic, while inconsistent policy decisions spanning over decades have contributed to the rest. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka placed the country's headline inflation at 11.1% in the month of November from 8.3% in October. To top things off, with the prices of commodities on the rise, the levels of unemployment have also been similarly high. COVID is a chief contributor to that. In the month of September, the country's unemployment rate had risen to 5.7% from 5.2% in April earlier this year. But this isn't all.
Given the shortage of foreign exchange, we are having import controls, we are having foreign exchange restrictions. In fact, we have a commodity shortage in the country, causing the commodity prices to go up. Our exchange rate has depreciated so much. It's likely to depreciate in the future unless we try to control it. And we have other factors affecting the local commodity shortage. Because of the import restrictions, we also have problem of getting inputs, both intermediate and capital goods, which are needed for our production. So when the oil prices go up, when the input prices go up, and when there is a shortage of inputs that we need from the world market, obviously our production sector is getting paralyzed. Apart from that, we have some other policy issues. The fertilizer issue, the removal of the administrative prices, and the increase in the oil prices, and all these things have an impact on our local commodity prices. Obviously, going into the market prices and removing administrative prices, this is a good thing because the government cannot keep controlling these prices too long, because then in that case the taxpayers have to bear the additional cost. So it's a good move, but the timing is wrong. We are adopting these policy options because the government cannot continue to rely on administrative price controls and subsidies.
But Sri Lanka isn't alone in this. Many of the world's developed countries such as the United Kingdom, the United States, Singapore and many others have seen record levels of inflation. UK's November inflation jumped to 5.1% from 4.2% in October. That's a 10-year high. Inflation in the United States was at its highest in November at 6.2%. That's a 40-year high in the world's largest economy. And the policies adopted by bigger economies to tackle their own economic woes are having a ripple effect across the globe. And Sri Lanka isn't spared.
This is the period of economic recovery in the global economy. And when the economic recovery is taking place, usually there is an increased aggregate demand causing inflationary pressure. So that we have observed this in most of the countries in the world, including rich countries such as the United States. But the macroeconomic policies in this kind of situation should be directed at increasing the interest rates and containing the money supply. However, some of the countries are not interested in doing that. The reason is they want to wait and see because they want to allow the economic recovery even with slight increase in prices. So they are approaching the issue with some caution. This has a global impact all over the other countries, including Sri Lanka.
In about 2.5 months' time, the world will cross the unwanted milepost of enduring 2 whole years under the cloud of the COVID pandemic. Whether the world could have done more in a collective sense to eradicate this is a separate question. Those are strictly ifs and buts. But as the present reality is concerned, living with COVID and managing the challenges it may throw from time to time is the new normal. So how should Sri Lanka adjust its course to navigate these new waters?
The long-term way out from this inflationary pressure and the subdued economic activity, it depends on two things: export expansion and foreign investment. Without these two things, there is no long-term recovery of the Sri Lankan economy.